friends, welcome back to Cake Over Keto, your non-diet podcast that stands up against diet culture so you can eat the goddamn cake without anxiety and guilt. I am Mel Wakeman, registered nutritionist, intuitive eating practitioner, non-diet counsellor, and now lover of cake. I specialise in disordered eating and eating disorders and recovering from chronic dieting, weight and body image concerns, all through a weight-inclusive lens. Cake Over Keto is a fortnightly slice of food and body truths with dollops of compassion and sprinkles of salvation. I am here to provide a safe healing space for those on their way to food and body freedom. And as I do this, I may mention body weight, I will today, calories and the O word, and there will always be context, but please be mindful if you are triggered by these. So in this episode, I want to talk about weight and how the hell we let go of the belief it's the most important thing about us. I touched on this in the last episode, episode 5 reasons why intuitive eating isn't working for you. Because when we're told for a long time that weight is so important, when we've internalized the beliefs that weight loss will bring happiness, better health, better relationships, life success, it isn't easy just to switch that off. And I think when we begin the non-diet pathway, there's some expectation that that is meant to happen. So I want to give you some tips on how to let go of the weight. And I've put some tools that I talk about in this episode in the show notes that you can download. Now, I know you can't see me right now, and you may not know what I look like unless you follow me on social media, but I want to state something really important here. I acknowledge my thin privilege. I don't know what it's like to live in this world in a bigger body. This means I haven't experienced the discrimination folk in bigger bodies have, and my life has been easy as a result of that. But I do have a but, and this is not me dismissing what I've just stated. I have had to challenge my own internal anti-fat bias on my healing journey. So what I'm saying here is that anyone can experience feeling unhappy in and with their body to fear weight gain. Body image is not dependent on our size because it's about the perception we have of ourselves. So yes, other factors come into play, like body size, but also, for example, sexuality and gender identity. These are all linked to poor body image, disordered eating and eating disorders. So bear that in mind, and if you've got questions about that, why not ping me some? And at the end, I'll dip into my pick and mix. This episode provides some wonderful non-diet accounts you might want to follow. Not the really big ones, although I'm very grateful for them using their voices to reach larger audiences, but the smaller ones, a bit like me, who are doing amazing work, but who are not necessarily seen for it. So without further ado, go get yourself a cuppa, find somewhere comfy, and join me for 20-ish minutes of insight and enlightenment. And while the kettle boils, if you would like to get in touch, please do. You can find me on Instagram at cakeoverketo. I'm also on at Mel_Wakeman_RNUTR. I'm in my food freedom community on Patreon as Mel Wakeman, or you can email me at mel@wakemannutrition.com. I would love to hear from you if you're finding this idea of letting go of weight particularly difficult. Back in just a second. Let's begin with a really good question I get asked a lot. It goes something like this. So I get that diets don't work. I don't want to do any more diets, but I still want to lose weight. How do I get over this? Now, this is not a question with a quick answer. And you probably knew that already though, didn't you? And I think part of the problem here is that very understandable and strong desire and maybe expectation to get over it as soon as possible, to get over the discomfort of sitting in this place. So what's the answer? Well, I'm going to give you 2 approaches for you to try in terms of exploring how to get over this. Number 1 is to reflect on your personal experience. Not the experiences of anyone else or the success stories that you've read and heard about. You. What happened for you? Because we can be our own best teachers if we allow ourselves to be. if we can take a step back and reflect on our experiences without judgment and see what we can learn from them, that's really powerful. So I want you to reflect on all of the times you have had success, quote unquote, losing weight. Now, you could create a timeline if you wanted to, and yes, there may be 40 plus years of effort here. So the question's going something like this, and maybe could be where you begin. Can you remember your first diet? How old were you? What was life like for you then? Why did you start that diet? Was it something that happened, an event you were kind of aiming for, or were you invited to go along or told to go along to a weight loss support group? So what did it involve, the weight loss strategy? How long did you stay on it? Did you lose weight? Did the weight stay off? If it did, how long for? Did you regain the weight that you lost? And how did that make you feel? So you can repeat this series of basically 10 questions. So look for the help sheet I've created in the show notes for every single time you have attempted to lose weight. Include the times that you were not successful. And this way, instead of just kind of skimming the information, you're actually able to see the bigger picture and cement your own personal memories with facts. And I feel I should warn you, this can feel really uncomfortable. And this is not a reason not to do this, but I really want you to be gentle with yourself. This is not an invitation to blame yourself for anything or to blame others. It's important to remember we can't change the past. And really, we tend to only act on the information and the tools we have at the time. So yeah, I bet you were still doing your best. And you may know better now, but the knowledge you have now wasn't obvious at the time. So take your time with this. Allow your memories to come back to you. This can take kind of weeks for you to do this sometimes. And you might experience God, why did I not see this sooner voice? Or feel badly for how you treated your body. But consider instead, you are now gaining a new perspective. You are seeing properly, perhaps for the first time. And from here on, now, you might want to choose a different path. So when you can prove it to your mind that, no, diets don't really work in the long term and weight loss is not sustainable, you will be much better able to slowly relinquish the allure that diet culture says you can lose weight, so you should. Because it's easier for us to believe facts that we have personally experienced. The second approach is to ask yourself why. So let's just say that voice has popped up in your head. You need to lose weight. You need to go on a diet. And perhaps because it's a sunny day and last year's wardrobe that surely has been altered by mini elves is beckoning. Or you saw a photo of yourself from your last proper holiday, or a memory popped up on social media. Perhaps someone made a flippant or stupid comment. Or did you hear a song on the radio that brought back a certain memory? Or you just noticed a new wrinkle has sprung up in the mirror this morning. Whatever it is that's happened, ask yourself, why? Why do I feel this need to shrink my body? And it might be because you want to feel more comfortable in your clothes, which is absolutely understandable, or you don't want to spend more money on more clothes. And you absolutely deserve to feel comfortable, but why do you see it as your job to shrink yourself? And I'm just sharing, examples, things that I've heard from my clients, because maybe they've felt self-conscious in the body that they've got. Do you dislike what you see in the mirror? Are you worried about what others may think of you? Are you worried about your health? Again, ask why. So why might you feel self-conscious? Why are you worried about your health? What does this mean for you? And maybe because you want to feel more attractive, or perhaps there's a need to feel less obvious. Perhaps you have a desire to not stand out and hide away. Or maybe you're worried about getting diabetes because you can't escape the idea that everyone who is fat is at an increased risk of diabetes, according to what, social media says. And this is another topic for another day. But keep asking why and why. So why? Oh, there's that bloody why again. It's like having kids all over again and being asked 50 million times in a day. But why? But when you ask yourself that and you keep digging deeper, you typically find yourself in one or more of three patterns. 1, you want to feel nurtured and loved. 2, you want to feel accepted and valued. 3, you want to feel safe, which often comes up as feeling healthy or being healthy. So our deeper reasons are almost always caught up in some semblance of love, self-worth and health. And even deeper than that, you've likely attached your self-worth to love and your relationships and what people think and what you have and how healthy you are. So if you need some help with this, honestly, I'm here, you can get in touch. This is not a sales pitch, this is the hard work. It isn't your job necessarily to change your body. It's maybe changing how you see yourself and how important you feel. So neither of these exercises are easy, but seriously, give them a go. And find somewhere safe and cozy and comfortable. Get a giant cup of tea. You might need some tissues. And if you want, invite a trusted friend or safe person to sit with you or help you if you feel that would be good. And remember, above all, our bodies change continuously. And if we're honest about it, we expect to become wiser, more understanding perhaps, and to grow as a person through life. Yet we expect our body to stay the same size, or at least not grow with us. Well, what do you know? The influence of diet culture is strong. It tells us we can defy aging, we can stay thin and preserve our youth because that's the best way. And regardless of what our genes and Mother Nature may say, we blame our body for getting bigger, fatter, slower, for losing flexibility and capacity as we age. And there may or may not have been childbirth, illness or injury, but the outcome is typically the same. The experience of loss and grief as our body changes. We mourn our earlier selves. And acceptance can feel weak, like we're giving up, because society says, look, this person did it, therefore you can and you should. And boy, if you don't, you clearly don't care enough and you're not trying hard enough. Give me 10 now. So yeah, it's harsh. And you know what? We're all doing our best to maintain our health. Even then, it's not a given. We are hedging our bets. No one is immune to the effects of time. So there can be huge sadness around this. As your body changes, you may experience feelings of regret, guilt, anger, frustration, all the same emotions associated with the widely recognized stages of grief and loss. I'm not saying that this sort of the 5-stage model is the be all and end all. I don't think it's necessarily follows a pattern, but it's something we can look at. In a culture that conditions us to prefer and value thinness, mourning the loss, or the dream of achieving the thin ideal, and the fantasy of who you are going to become is very much like grieving the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the loss of a job. So if we take this kind of principle and we go through the stages, the first one is denial. Here, you are actively pursuing weight loss. The focus is getting thinner. Equally, you could be working on keeping weight off that you've recently lost. You may be embarking on a diet, some form of slimming plan, exercise program, might be taking medications, supplements, or even contemplating surgery to get back to an early version of you. You may believe you were genuinely happier and or healthier then. Maybe you were. Perhaps you weren't. And some people never leave this stage. But when people first begin healing, Beginning the non-diet path and practicing intuitive eating in order to recover can be hard to believe because it flies in the face of pretty much everything we've been told. Even if you accept the science on a logical level, it can be easy to slip into denial. Many people have heard that, 95 to 98% of diets fail and accept that as truth. And a lot more than 3 to 5% of people think they can be the 3 to 5% of quote unquote successful dieters. And I'm using quotes around successful because many of these 3 to 5% are engaging in disordered behaviours to maintain their weight loss. So if you're in this stage, now is a good time to engage in activities or seek support to detach your self-worth from the scale. Stage 2 is anger. The diet industry tells you what to do. It sounds so easy. Just follow the plan, which may work brilliantly at the beginning, but then it gets tricky. So you keep trying really hard, doing everything you're told should work, but it's not bloody working, or it stops working. And your questions are you doing it right? Have you got enough willpower? Why isn't the scale budging? At this stage, you become frustrated and angry. This anger can be directed towards the diet that's not working, or those people who can eat what the hell they like and stay thin, the people you feel are sabotaging your efforts, or perhaps towards yourself and your body. Bring in self-berating and worsening body image. And we're taught that anger is a bad emotion, but it's a really important part of the healing process, as long as it's directed at the right things. So by all means, get angry with diet culture, get angry with the diet industry, your eating disorder voice, but not with yourself, because you are not at fault here. Feel the anger, but do what you can to redirect it. I've had clients write letters to food or letters to their bodies before. Unfollow accounts that make you feel you need to be someone else. Find body positive role models instead. Okay, stage 3, this is the bargaining stage. And you're now feeling a mix of emotions, from perhaps vulnerable and lost to refocused. You try to regain some control of the situation, or at least try to change some of the outcome, which is actually a defense mechanism to lessen or delay the impact of our more difficult emotions. You might be starting to become aware that diets don't help you and that they actually cause more stress than you can handle, and they're making you miserable because of the emotional and the physical cost. And you may have read a bit about intuitive eating and health at every size, and you're thinking more about improving your health without having to lose weight. But you're not quite ready to give up on the pursuit of thinness just yet. So bargaining takes place. You come up with new reasons for engaging in restrictive behaviours, but you say it's about health, not weight. Or say things like, I just feel more energy when I'm at a smaller size. And this kind of conversation and dialogue is really common when society normalises restrictive behaviours. So essentially, you're finding reasons to continue to engage in dieting behaviours, but not necessarily admitting it as such. So you might allow yourself to eat a little bit more each day, but hey, you're going dairy free, or you're cutting out carbs and there's no wine in the week. So this is a good time to do some more in-depth work to promote healing. And if you haven't already, maybe time to seek out an intuitive eating nutritionist like me, or a dietitian who has experience of working with food and body image concerns. Stage 4, depression. This is when the reality hits that you can no longer keep up the food and exercise regime you had going, and or you're losing the thin fantasy of becoming the person you were meant to be when you were going to hit that weight goal. And this can feel like losing an actual person. And you might mourn the loss of compliments from others. You might mourn the loss of an identity that was praised and valued and admired. And you may mourn all the time, energy and money that you lost pursuing thinness. Now, if I'm looking outside in, I know that you are already enough and that you can do, see, achieve, and become all of those things in your thin fantasy in the body you're in today. But the question is, do you? So it's in this stage that you may realise to move forward in your life, to live a life true to yourself, you have to let go of that body that will never be yours. And in this stage, that loss feels, well, kind of depressing. So it's really helpful to check what your visual diet is at the moment so that you're ensuring that you're seeing all types of people in a whole range of body sizes living joy-filled lives. There's some amazing research that shows how we become more self-accepting when we widen our visual diet and follow people of different body shapes, sizes, colours and ability. So have a think about your current visual diet. What's on your social media feed? What programs do you watch on the TV? What magazines and books do you read? Does that need tweaking? Then lastly, stage 5, acceptance. At last, the light at the end of the tunnel is growing brighter and you can see a new pathway forward. Now, I'd love to say that once you're here, you're here, but acceptance is typically a place you will slip in and out of because life changes, we change, and you may be in a place of acceptance and all of a sudden find yourself in denial after being triggered by something. And I know for the people that I work with, it can feel like a failure to have reconsidered the idea that you might want to lose weight or you've questioned the non-diet path. It's not a failure, it's normal. Give your chance to process these thoughts, acknowledge them. Just give yourself time to work through them. But my best advice for this stage is don't get too comfortable. Don't get complacent. Be on the lookout for triggers and label them as such. Understand that falling out of acceptance is normal. Your journey is unlikely to be linear. So you feel less shame when it happens. But food freedom, body liberation, really living your life, they are associated with this stage. So here, let yourself appreciate your body, all the things it has done for you and will continue to do, and have fun with it. Find ways of moving your body with freedom and joy, not necessarily all the time, but express who you are with your body. Allow your body to savour delicious and satisfying food. Think of it as your home and create a safe, cosy space for yourself to stay. Right, so that's it for our cake part. Join me in just a minute as we go into the pick and mix. But if you want to get in touch about any of this, my contact details will be at the end. See you in just a second. Okay, folks, let's open up the pick and mix. Who do I have today? Well, I've got 3 amazing ladies who are walking the talk when it comes to finding body acceptance and living life. So these are not massive accounts, so please go and check them out because I think you're going to like them. So the first one is a lovely lady called Mel Anderson. She's from at my.bodyfits over on Instagram, and she is a personal trainer and kettlebell coach, and I love the fact that she has Mel's bells. Nothing to do with me being called Mel, but she has Mel's bells. Anyway, she helps women find mental, emotional and physical strength through all stages of menopause. And she's ace. I love her honest approach, and she's just started releasing a beginner kettlebell video series on a Monday morning on YouTube. So go and check out her content. She's just so real, and yeah, you've got to go and have a look. Then I've got Faye from Effin' It Up Faye. So it's at Effin, EFFIN, It Up Faye, Faye. She is a gorgeous cow-loving Disney fan, why wouldn't you be, who shares content that reminds us of our humanity. And she cracks me up, but she also shares the reality of recovery from an eating disorder. So yeah, if you want to kind of find people that you can relate to, go and check out Faye's account. And then the last one is Lauren from at Fill Your Bowl. So it's all one word, Fill Your Bowl, with an underscore at the end. And she is a nutritional therapy student. And she shares brilliant videos that challenge diet culture and challenge the ED voice. And I don't know, how does she find the time to do all these things? It kind of is beyond belief. But yeah, it's wonderful content, really thought-provoking, very helpful. Go and have a look. So that's it from me, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've liked what you've heard, please do subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up in my next episode. So number 7 is, they said it to my face, so it must be true. This is unpacking appearance assumptions and discovering your worth. So come and join me for that next time. If you'd like to carry on the conversation, please email me at mel@wakemannutrition.com, or come find me on Instagram at cakeoverketo or mel_wakeman_RNUTR. I would love to hear from you. Take care of yourselves. See you next time. Bye.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.